Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet where Looper is just a movie about NASCAR. I'm your host, Rob.
And I'm your host, Chad, and today we're talking about Looper, the new film this week.
And, I was like, are we reviewing that? And then on Thursday, we're going to be reviewing the new CBS drama, Elementary.
So, as always, you can check us out over at Twitter, at Epic Geek Out. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel above us.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Epic Geek Out. And also check out the website, www.epicgeekout.com. Let's get into our review of Looper. So today we are reviewing Looper from writer-director Rian Johnson, who has done movies, two in the past, actually, only two, Brick and The Brothers Bloom. Also directed a couple episodes of Breaking Bad, so I wanted to check out which ones they were. So basically it is a sci-fi time-traveling movie, stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Bruce Willis, Emily Blunt, some others, and really takes the genre and twists it a little bit. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is what's called a looper, which is pretty much an assassin. Pretty an easy assassin. Seems like a kind of good gig if you're okay with killing people. Basically, he just stands there
killing yourself.
Well, yeah, that's true. We'll get into that. Stands there with what they call a blunderbuss. Waits for someone to appear. Basically, the mob is the only people who use time travel in the future, and they kind of use it to get rid of people because it's hard to get rid of bodies. They send them back. Someone shoots them. They get rid of them. And, you know, the story kind of goes from there. It's set both in the future, and then 30 and then 30 years from there. So, right. Chad, what do you think of Looper?
I'm a huge fan of time travel stuff. Back to the Future, favorite movie trilogy. So I'm always excited for time travel movies. Sometimes they're not as good as others, and I still like them because they're time travel. But this one, it seems that a normal movie would have been the first third of this movie, but then he went places that I wasn't expecting. It wasn't in the marketing at all, so we don't want to talk about that latter half of the movie because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But
it's going to be hard to review this movie.
Yeah, it's an incredible movie. I think it could be up there. I don't know if it's the best movie, my favorite movie of the year, but it would be between that and Cabin for me. I mean, Avengers obviously great movie, but that's a more popcorny movie. I love movies where you can think. This is in the vein of like something like Inception, where the entire time I'm there like questioning what's going on, what's happening, but like totally on the edge of my seat, wanting to know what's going to happen next. The storyline, everything part of this movie is amazing. The storyline is mind-bending and awesome, but yet isn't overly complicated and confusing. I think, you know, once I digested it at the end of the movie, thinking about it, you pick up on things, you know, parts where stuff happens and you're like, what is that? But later it gets explained, and just cool stuff like that throughout. I mean, time travel, it lends itself to that, which is awesome. Acting, awesome. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, love him. Bruce Willis, kind of underutilized in this a little bit. I
thought he had some good moments,
He had some good moments, but after the diner scene, which you see in the trailer, he doesn't really have any dialogue or anything. It's kind of just him doing crazy stuff in the vein of like a Die Hard-ish Bruce Willis. But, you know, we could use a little bit more time with him, I think, but you kind of get his motives and you kind of understand a little bit. Even though the plot point of his watch was, again, not spoiling anything, it was kind of dropped after that diner scene. Unfortunate. But overall, great. All around good acting. Great. I mean, Rian Johnson, awesome. The cinematography, everything, just top notch.
His shots were just great. The way he uses the camera to capture things is really impressive.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to this movie, and it definitely hit my expectations and even surpassed it because I wasn't expecting where it was going to go with it. And I think it kind of has a profound message at the end. It's kind of it does have sci-fi and the time travel, but it's more concerned with like the human condition and sort of bigger messages that to be had there, which is awesome.
And the path you lead and the road you walk, and how, you know, kind of each person can be good or bad, and
multiple
it depends on
timelines or whatever, which is crazy. So I mean, in that regard, awesome. I would tell anybody to go see this. I think even people that aren't into sci-fi would enjoy this movie. So I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. So to start my review, I can't wait till this comes on DVD, because I want to rewatch the crap out of it and pick up on what I didn't pick up on the first viewing. It's one of those movies where you're just watching, you're completely engaged. I mean, a third through, I had to use the restroom, and I was not getting up at any point during this movie. I mean, I sprinted at the end because, I just did not want to miss a single thing. It starts as the time travel movie, and, Bruce Willis's character comes back just like in the preview, which is, the same person, and, the shenanigans happen from there. And like you said, that could have been its own movie, but then it just takes this turn where they're still dealing with stuff from that, from that issue that they were having, but now there's this whole other intense storyline that
it's kind of like the main focus of the second half.
I would say it's the main focus of the movie at that point.
Well, right.
And like
it switches to that,
And it's crazy. Like the setting changes. I mean, the first part is the majority is in the city. Then it kind of reminded me of Walking Dead. They're on this farm area. So the setting, the tone, everything just does this like 180, and you're like, I'm into this movie. This is great. Like, and you can't even. There's no like being disappointed that it's not specifically about the time travel element anymore. It's just, it's crazy, and they didn't not wrap up the first part either. Like that had an ending to it, that it completed it. It made sense, and it was great. And just what I think really needs to be said is the tone of this movie is great, and also the settings, the little nuances that are added to like the car's exhaust. There's a pipe that goes back into the tank, and like
the solar panels on the
front of the cars. How like the city was really different, not really different, but it had its differences. But then
it seemed plausible. Like it
seemed realistic.
Like Back to the Future, for example. It flash forwards 30 years or whatever, and it's like completely crazy. Whereas this, it still looks like our world, but there's little touches of sci-fi, stuff that you feasibly could happen.
And then when they go to the farm, there's not that many touches of sci-fi. It's kind of like a time capsule that has sat there. And there are some where she sets off this like crop duster, which is an unmanned aerial drone pretty much. And I don't think they have that at this current state. But it's really, the way the world was set up was awesome. The acting was great. The writing, the directing, everything was really good of this movie. There were some like little horror moments of this movie where I was like, oh geez, what's going on here? And I'm like, I don't know. And kind of how they showed if you do something to like the earlier version of the person, how it happens to the older person, things like that. It just was really, really well done, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt with the makeup as Bruce Willis was totally convincing, which is crazy. Because watching the trailer, I was like, does he look? He looks weird, but I don't know if he like really looks like him. And then like they had shots of like their eye line, and they had the exact same.
He said his mom was on set and didn't recognize him.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's pretty cool, and
it did lend itself to that.
It worked well, and it wasn't like in Prometheus, they just made the old guy old, and it looked awful. But yeah, I highly recommend this movie. It's definitely a thinking man's or woman's sci-fi kind of film.
Yeah.
So
there were some timeline parts that didn't make sense to me, but I guess like it kind of made that little nudge statement to the audience in the diner where it's like, we're not going to explain this, you just kind of have to
just kind of shut up.
In this situation, we're not going to give you this whole diagram of what's going on with straws, as they said. You just got to accept it, and we'll show you along the way kind of what the rules are and what's happening, but we're not going to sit here and concern ourselves with all the tropes of would this happen really, because this, but all this crazy
and there's elements that
things.
were introduced in the beginning that come back in full force later. I mean, it is just a well-made movie, and it's enjoyable.
I think too, just even taking the sci-fi out of it, had just an interesting narrative structure. The fact that it did switch so much, and it was just a refreshing kind of movie because, as we always say on the show, like the spoilers abound from trailers a lot, and it kind of ruins some movies, especially comedies. But this sort of focused on one aspect, and that is there in a good way. But then there's an added little cherry on top,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah, good cherry, very edible cherry. So definitely check out Looper. And it's that time of the episode where we like to give our thanks. So Chad, what are you thankful for today?
In the vein of our movie today, I wanted to give a thanks to another time travel Bruce Willis movie, 12 Monkeys. And it's actually funny because there was a scene in this movie when he actually does travel back that was like, I thought it was like a shot lifted straight out of 12 Monkeys, which is funny because it kind of is the same way that they travel a little bit. But awesome movie. Brad Pitt's in it as well. If you haven't seen it, I mean, you gotta see it. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you gotta see it. It's another smart time travel movie, and I think it's a classic. I mean, it's definitely
great. It's a great.
It's definitely a movie that you should see as a geek. So 12 Monkeys, check it out. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix, but I'm sure you can catch it somewhere pretty cheap online, something like that. So
yeah, and I'm gonna thank a movie that really is just about a rug. The Big Lebowski, a great film. It isn't for everyone. Starts off just in a way that only Big Lebowski can. I mentioned this because Lebowski Fest was in Philadelphia recently.
Nice.
They do these conventions, which I definitely want to get to one because it's just a movie that is so unique and so great and so quotable, hilarious. Also, if you watch it on TV and how they edit the things, that's what happens when someone wears pants on a mountain or something awful. I forget what exactly the line was. How they edited it out. Great movie, check it out. Also available on Netflix Instant, so check it out there.
Awesome. So we'll be back on Thursday with our review of Elementary, the Sherlock sort of series from CBS. So be sure to check back. Have a great day.